Hey guys, Dean of DVD just woke up. Let me grab my coffee here. It's way over here. It shouldn't be. Oh, I need coffee. Well, I don't know if I need it. Well, I need it. That's good, okay. On to another shelf in the Criterion collection. Of course, between my entire movie collection, decided to start with the Criterions because I know they're handy. They're right on the shelves here. The last bit of the Blu-rays, I believe, is what I'll do now. Then I'll move on to the DVDs, which will be another video or two probably. They would be shorter if I just showed you the titles, but I have been talking a little bit about them. In a few cases, I haven't opened them yet, as you'll see here shortly. Mainly because I was thinking about selling them on eBay because they are either out of print in some cases, or in other cases, they are just a really big box set. And I thought, do I really want to spend, would I rather have that, or would I rather have the $80 I could probably get selling it? That's the question. And being out of work right now, that is a factor. Though I did get 6 months of severance pay and benefit pay, which is nice. It's not the easiest thing in the world to find a job. And although I am sending out resumes and applying to various jobs on a regular basis, still, there's only so many of those available that fit my particular skill set. I could take a job doing a lot of different things, but as many people have said, and I would say it myself, being a human resources manager, I'm not inclined to hire somebody who's been working at McDonald's, as a fry cook. It just doesn't seem to fit the mold, so to speak. On the other hand, it does say something for their willingness to get out there and work, which is good. But it's hard to find a job when you have a job, believe it or not. They always say it's easier to find a job when you have a job. I don't think that's true, because then you have to lie to your employer if you're going on an interview. Most jobs, the type I'm going for, is more than one interview. It's usually a phone interview and then maybe a couple in-person interviews. So it's not always easy to find, is what I'm saying. Okay, so anyway, hence the maybe sell some of the Criterions, because why not? I have a lot of movies, as you can see, just from the background here. This shelf is probably the largest shelf of movies that I've got. I've got another one that you'll see when I get to what's in this closet. What was a closet is now a movie area, as well as the shelves on the other side of the room, and then the ones underneath my area here, where the TV is, and then on either side of them are all the movie ones that I have, which are right to my left and opposite over there on the other side of the TV. And just to show you what I'm talking about here, as long as I'm gabbing on about it, give you a brief look. Hopefully this doesn't flip on me. But here's the TV, right? And then over there, there's a thing of movies. And then right down here, there's a thing of movies, right here. Then up over there on the other side of the room, there are shelves. I think you can see those there. There's 3 shelves there. And then in the closet, which I'm not going to show you now. But, all right, back in place here. Okay. Give you some idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's start with the Criterions, with the what's left of the Blu-rays. And then from there, like I said, next time we'll get into the DVDs. Right? Okay, back. It turns out that I finished through the single Blu-rays, the Yee, however it's pronounced, in the last video, and I recall doing those, so I thought I still had that shelf to do, but I don't. So all that's left is the Blu-ray box sets that are a little thicker. Originally I started out with the ones that are 2 or 3 movies. Now I'm into the ones that are a little bit bigger, either because the films are, the size of the case is bigger, is all it is. It may still be 3 movies like this first one, but they are individually cased. So they were released separately, I guess. I think they were. I had one of them separately. But I got them on Blu-ray because I really like these films. One in particular got my attention. These are spine numbers 762, 599, and 479. So they're certainly not in order. And they are 3 films by Gregory and Shawn Wallace. So, I'm sorry, Wallace Shawn. I did that backwards, I guess. And yeah, this is yeah, Wallace Shawn is the gentleman from, if you remember, The Princess Bride. He is the kind of the mastermind of the evil dudes. He's not the giant Andre, and he's not the you kill my father, prepared to die. He is the third guy, the bald guy, the guy who wants to play a game of wits with the poisoned wine chalice there. That is Wallace Shawn. Anyway, the first of the three films is this one, which is the one I owned on DVD, which I think I sold, or I don't know what I did with it. I think I sold it. I don't think I own it anymore. But it's called My Dinner with Andre. What a great movie. I love this movie. This movie is basically these two friends. It's a scripted movie, but you wouldn't know it. They get together for dinner in a restaurant, and it's the conversation they have with each other in the restaurant. And it absolutely feels like a real conversation. They eat dinner while they're having the conversation. There are other people around them eating dinner. It is the type of conversation you'd have if, in your ideal world, meeting a friend that you hadn't seen in years. It's the kind of conversation you'd hope you'd have. It's intellectual, it's political, it's religious, it's philosophical, it's familial. It's got everything in it that you'd hope that a friend of intelligence that you'd meet some years down the road, that you don't see regularly, that you'd be able to meet and have that kind of a conversation over dinner. And it makes for a great movie. You have to watch this. If you haven't seen it, I think it's on Hulu. Go out and check it out on Hulu. Got some great extras. Great stuff. Highly recommend. I don't know what else to say about it other than it's a dinner conversation, but it's a movie. It's scripted, which shocked the hell out of me when I heard that. I really thought I thought they just filmed them. That's how realistic it feels. Anyway, then the next two movies I'm not as familiar with because I've watched them maybe 5 times now. I've watched all these, but I'm a little sketchy on some of these. In the early 90s, theater director Andre Gregory, that's right, mounted a series of spare private performances of Anton Chekhov's Uncle Vanya and a crumbling Manhattan Playhouse, that's right. This experiment in pure theater featured a remarkable cast of actors, including Wallace Shawn, again, Julianne Moore, Brooke Smith, and George Keynes, whatever. Would have been lost to time and had not been captured on film with subtle cinematic brilliance by Louis Malle. Vanya on 42nd Street is as memorable and emotional a screen version of Chekhov's masterpiece as one could ever hope. This film, which turned out to be Malle's last, is a tribute to the playwright's devastating work as well as the creative process itself. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's the putting on, but it's kind of behind the scenes, and it's also the actual play. Uncle Vanya. Vanya on 42nd Street. So think of it as a documentary as well as a showing of the actual play. There you go. You'll recognize Wallace Shawn there. And the other guy then is Andre Gregory. And then finally, this was an interesting, this is a little bit older version of Wallace Shawn. This was 2014. So, 20 years after their brilliant cinema theater experiment Vanya on 42nd Street, Wallace Shawn and Andre Gregory reunited to produce another idiosyncratic film version of a classic play. This time, Henrik Ibsen's Bygmeister Solness, Master Builder's Solness, brought pristinely to the screen by Jacques Demy. This compellingly abstract reimagining features Shawn, who also wrote the adaptation, as a visionary but tyrannical middle-aged architect haunted by figures from his past. Most acutely, an attractive, vivacious young woman, the breathtaking newcomer Lisa Joyce, who has appeared on his doorstep. Also featuring stand-up supporting performances by Julie Haggerty, Larry Pine, and Andre Gregory himself. A master builder like Vanya is the result of many years of rehearsals, a living, breathing, constantly shifting work that unites theater, film, and dream. Yeah, both those movies, in fact, all three of these movies seem like they're not scripted. They seem like, I don't know, especially the Dinner with Andre, but all of them have some element of that. The Dinner with Andre is probably the oldest. That's 1981. Then Vanya is 1994, and then Master Builder 2014. So what a great collection of films, though. And to have them all three, they especially price them when they do it like this. Because otherwise you're looking at $120 if you were to buy each one of these separately, 40, 40, 40, at regular prices. Or 20, 20, 20, even at Barnes & Noble prices. This now would sell for 80 probably, as I recall, and 40 for the three. So great when they package them this way. And speaking of packaging something that way, same thing is true for this one. But I love that I got it this way. I owned only one of these, and I sold it on eBay for $25, which cut the cost of this down quite a bit. The one I owned was Foreign Correspondent, and the set is the Alfred Hitchcock, classic Hitchcock, A Man Who Knew Too Much, The 39 Steps. I'm trying to read this backwards, which is always The Lady Vanishes, and then Foreign Correspondence. Foreign Correspondent, I should say. All four movies are great. I just rewatched The Man Who Knew Too Much with Peter Lorre, which I think is the better of the two. They redid it with Jimmy Stewart, and that's in my other Blu-ray box set, non-Criterion. I think this is a better version of the film, in my opinion, but both are good. I haven't opened Foreign Correspondent yet because I've already watched it. I did own the Blu-ray DVD version, which I liked, but once I got this in this set, I felt I didn't have the need for both. I have not watched on the Criterion yet the 39 Steps. I'm going to revisit each one of these four movies. And then I love The Lady Vanishes. Kind of a great old Hitchcock flick. Mystery on a train, which is always kind of cool. I love train movies anyway. This from 1938, 96 minutes long. Basically what happens in this movie is a young woman is on her way to be married. She's coming to meet her fiance, and she is vivacious, she is intelligent, she's opinionated, she's driven, she's fun-loving, and she gets on this train. She helps an old lady who's there. They find their seats. She's sitting next to the old lady. She comes back from she and the old lady go and have tea in the dining car, and when she comes back, I don't remember where she goes. She gets sidetracked. When she comes back, the old lady is gone, and she asks the other travelers in the compartment, "What happened to the old lady?" And they all say, "What old lady? You were by yourself." And she is upset by this, and driven as she is driven now to find the answer of what happened to this old lady, and why does the rest of the train appear to be lying. Now, she hit her head right before she got on the train, and she did fall asleep. That's right, she fell asleep. That's what happened. When she fell asleep and woke up, the old lady was gone. And there's a doctor on board who said, this is not unusual. I am a psychiatrist, surgeon, and being hit on the head like this could cause these kind of hallucinations to the point where someone could imagine kind of this conglomerate of other people that they know, this older lady. And the rest of the movie is her and this Michael Redgrave, who's kind of a dashing type of tongue-in-cheek, always making a joke type guy. He's also a musician. He is on the same train. He happened to share the same hotel room, believe it or not, briefly with her for a number of reasons. And he is on the train, and he tries to help her to find this missing older woman. And that's why it's called The Lady Vanishes. It is The Lady Vanishes. You can't see the but it's up there at the top. It's The Lady Vanishes, not Lady Vanishes. Just like this is The 39 Steps. It's been a long time since I watched The 39 Steps, from 1935. A heart-racing spy story by Alfred Hitchcock. The 39 Steps follows Robert Donat as he stumbles upon a conspiracy that thrusts him into a hectic chase, that's right, across the Scottish moors. A chase in which he is both the pursuer and the pursued, trying to figure out what's going on, as well as into the unexpected romance with cool Pamela, who's Madeline Carroll plays her. Adapted from a novel by John Buchan, or Buchan. This classic wrong man thriller from the master of suspense anticipates the director's most famous works, especially North by Northwest. It remains one of his cleverest and most entertaining films. A ton of extras on all of these. Yeah. Different interviews with Hitchcock. I'm a big Hitchcock fan. In fact, all things considered, he might be my favorite director. He's right up there. Here's a book with this, kind of thin, but good. Here's the actor, typical 30s looking actor with a thin mustache and the beautiful femme fatale there. Well, it's not a femme fatale, but you get the idea. And then this is a fairly famous scene across the Scottish moors with a helicopter. Whatever that is. This is a helicopter. That's the 39 Steps. Lady Vanishes. Foreign Corresponding. I got to read on this one too because it's been a long time since, well, it hasn't been that long, but this was Correspondent goes over to check out Europe. He's a Yank reporter going to Europe to get a scoop on the war that's coming. This is in 1940, by the way, so it's very timely. It's the World War II would be the upcoming war, and he gets caught up in a big, another one of these sort of wrong identities, and like it says here, it's okay. It says his first two American movies, Rebecca and Foreign Correspondent, were both nominated for Best Picture. Though Rebecca prevailed, Foreign Correspondent is the more quintessential Hitchcock film. Full throttle espionage thriller. Yeah, it really is. I like Rebecca too, though. I also own Rebecca. Not on Criterion. I did own it on Criterion, and that's another one I sold. She was out of print. Anyway, Hitchcock's Foreign Correspondent. Pretty famous windmill scene there, and he's caught up in a lot of trying to figure out what's going on. The Nazis are involved, and spies, and it's great. And then The Man Who Knew Too Much with Peter Lorre. Again, a mistaken identity. An ordinary British couple find themselves embroiled in a case of international intrigue when their daughter is kidnapped by spies plotting a political assassination. This fleet and gripping film is part of the early thrillers that the master of suspense made during the fertile phase of his career. This is 1934. Peter Lorre in his first speaking role. He was German, and of course he spoke German. He was in M. If you've ever seen M, that's a great movie. I talked about that earlier. So that is the Hitchcock classic box set, which I like. Look at the cover on that. It sits on the shelf like this, and then you've got each individual movie. So that's kind of cool. Next up is one I haven't opened. This is one of the ones I was talking about earlier. I'm probably going to pop this open at some point. This is a dual edition, dual format, Blu-ray, DVD. Maybe I'll just sell the DVDs. I don't know. I always find that I don't have need for both. I don't understand why. I guess I like the packaging, but I mean, the only thing I can think of is if I were going to travel somewhere, let's say, and I wanted to bring some movies with me, maybe I'd bring just the DVDs. Possibly, I don't know. For instance, we have a little cottage on a lake and has a DVD player but not a Blu-ray player. So would I bring any of these movies to watch? Probably not. I might bring a Criterion, but I brought Red River and it's still sitting there. Forgot it. That and a few other movies. But Red River, the DVD part of Red River is sitting there at the lake still. It's been 2 years since we've been there. I don't know why we own it. But anyway, we have this set, which is Jacques Demy. Musicals, colorful. I've watched the Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and I thought it was brilliant. 7:14 to 7:19. You know, it's a sunny, bright, colorful world with Jacques Demy. Everything is kind of upbeat, I guess you'd say. What does he say? French director Jacques Demy didn't just make movies, he created an entire cinematic world. Demy launched his glorious feature filmmaking career in the 60s, a decade of astonishing invention in the national cinema. He stood out from the crowd of his fellow new wavers, however, by filtering his self-conscious formalism Through deeply emotional storytelling, fate and coincidence, doomed love, and storybook romance surface throughout his films, many of which are further united by the intersecting lives of characters who appear or are referenced across his titles. The works collected here, made from the 60s to the 80s and ranging from musical to melodrama to fantasia, are triumphs of visual and sound design, camera work, and music, and they are galvanized by the great stars of French cinema at their centers, including Anouk Aimée, Catherine Deneuve, one of my favorites, and Jean Moreau. Tons of extras on these things, and the soundtrack is, at least from the one movie, is come on, not Henry Mancini, is it? Is it Henry Mancini? Is that who I'm thinking of? No, Michel Legrand. But you recognize the music. It's very recognizable. Anyway, that's Jacques Demy, and here's all the films. I leave it this way on the shelf because I like the very colorful way it looks. I may pop this open and just keep it. It's I don't know. I've left it sealed for a reason, so I'm leaving it sealed for now. But at some point, I'm definitely going to make a choice on what to do with it, because I can't keep it forever and not watch it. That's not going to happen. I've watched some of this next batch, but again, this is another box set. Every bit as thick as the other one. This one's a comedy, and spine 729, but the movies are spine 110, 111, 112, 439, 731, and 730. And but I really like this set, so I opened it and watched it. Again, tons of extras on it, and this is the complete Jacques Tati. Though he made only a handful of films, director, writer, and actor Jacques Tati ranks among the most beloved of all cinematic geniuses. He's in the same general category as, I guess, Chaplin, that type of person. His character here on the front with the pipe and the hat and the umbrella is him. He wrote and directed and starred in these films. With a background in music hall and mime performance, Tati steadily built an ever more ambitious movie career that ultimately raised sight gag comedy to a level of high art. In the surrogate character of the sweet and bumbling, eternally umbrella-toting and pipe-smoking Monsieur Hulot, Tati invented a charming symbol of humanity, lost in a relentlessly modernizing modern age. He's not good with elevators and toasters and things like that. Tons of extras on this. The extras are listed here. Just a crap load. And you'd expect that because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 films here. And then a book. I'm going to call it a book rather than a booklet because it is a book. Another picture of Monsieur Hulot. Yeah, he's not one for the modern world. I guess that's the best way to put him. But yeah, brilliant films. And they are in French with English subtitles. A wide variety of things. Most of them are 1.37 to 1 ratio. There's a couple that aren't, but and the movies are made anywhere from 1949 through 1974. And they're all fairly famous. Playtime is probably the most famous from 1967, but they're all pretty famous. So that's the complete Jacques Tati. And then I'll go back on the shelf. Where did I put that? Right there, I guess. Okay. Those 3 films go back up there. And lastly, and probably my favorite of all my Blu-ray thicker box sets, and that is one that I learned the history of this. Again, a big, thick book with this thing, thicker than even the Tati one. I've not read this whole book yet. I really should, because there's a lot of interesting pieces in here. I remember reading one of them and thought it was really good, and just haven't gone back. I read the one on Head, but this is the getting right. Recap here. This is the BBS Story, Lost and Found, America Lost and Found. I've told this story before when I've shown this set, but it includes Head, Easy Rider, 5 Easy Pieces, Drive, he said, A Safe Place, The Last Picture Show, and The King of Marvin Gardens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 movies. I started out watching Head, I guess because it was first. It's the Monkees. Hey, Hey, We're the Monkees. Daydream Believer, Last Train to Clarksville, those Monkees. These guys, the BBS Story, stands for, I don't know, Schaefer, I can't remember all the names here, but there are 3 producers, and they, in the early mid-60s, said, hey, the Beatles, big deal, right? They're coming over from England. Why can't we have an American version of the Beatles here? We'll put them on TV, we'll market their songs. And so the Monkees were made because they looked right. They found somebody who could sing, Davy Jones. They found guys who eventually could play their instruments, Peter Tork and Mickey Dolenz. And then Michael Nesmith could already write. He wrote music. He was probably the most talented of the bunch coming in. And always kind of, I think, resented the Monkees in a lot of ways. And was not keen to do the reunion when they did one some years back. But anyway, he and the rest of the guys formed the Monkees. And these guys were the producers. They kind of were the masterminds behind it, this BBS group. Bob Schaefer, I just can't think of all their names. I could look them up, but in any event, maybe it's on the back. Yeah, it is. Here we go. Let me just read this. That's why I read most of these, because it sums it up better than I can. I'll just add my own little thoughts at the end. Like the rest of America, Hollywood was ripe for revolution in the late 60s. Cinema attendance was down. What once worked seemed broken. Enter Bob Rafelson, Bert Schneider, and Steve Blauner. Okay, there we go. BBS, Bob, Bert, and Steve. Who knew what Hollywood needed was new audiences, namely the younger people. And that meant cultivating new talent, new ideas. Fueled by money from their invention of the superstar TV pop group, the Monkees. So they invented that. They set off on a film industry journey that would lead them to form BBS Productions, a company that was also a community. The innovative films produced by this team between 1968 and 1972 are collected in this box set. Works that now range from the iconic Easy Rider, 5 Easy Pieces, The Last Picture Show, to the acclaimed The King of Marvin Gardens, to the obscure Head, Drive, he said, in a Safe Place. All created within the studio system, but lifted right out of the counterculture ID, or id. Tons of extras on here, including audio commentaries on most of the movies, hours of new and archival interviews and documentaries about this, outtakes, TV spots, and so on and so forth. So let's start with Head. Head features some music from the Monkees. Here's the basic plot. Mickey Dolenz, Davy Jones, Michael Nesmith, and Peter Tork become trapped in a kaleidoscope satire that's movie homage, media send-up, concert movie, and anti-war cry all at once. Head dodged commercial success on its initial release, that's a good way to say, but has since been reclaimed as one of the great cult objects of the era. It's very, I mean, the Monkees, if you recall the Monkees, were pretty straightforward, the Monkees, right? Simple plots, kind of like the Beatles movies, you know? One was the funny one was this one. And so when they made this movie that was this anti-war kaleidoscope, almost like an LSD trip type thing, it really threw a lot of people off. They didn't know what to think. They expected the Monkees, Last Train to Clarksville, Daydream Believer, you know. They didn't get that. Although there are some songs in this. I don't know if they list any of the songs here. Yeah, I don't. None of these jump out at me. I don't see anything that's familiar here. 4 of the songs: Porpoise Song, Circle Sky, As we go along, the Daddy songs were transferred from the original. I don't see anything that would be familiar. It doesn't mean they're not good. Just that you won't recognize any of them. Easy Rider, starring Dennis Hopper, kind of a classic movie, which you may recall. 5 Easy Pieces is a classic movie, and one of these, I think it's 5 Easy Pieces that has the 5 Easy Pieces, I believe, is the famous scene where they go to the diner and he wants his sandwich a certain way, and the waitress being a real bitch and said, we know substitution. She, and he gives a great line and then trashes the table that he's at. But the Last Picture Show, of course, Peter Bogdanovich, his most famous. He turned into kind of a film buff these days. He's making commentary on a lot of people's videos and he's big into the history of film. But this is set during the early 50s in the loneliest Texas nowhere ever to dust up a movie screen. This aching portrait of a dying West focuses on the daily shuffles of 3 futureless teens. Sonny, played by Timothy Bottoms, Dwayne, played by Jeff Bridges, and JC, played by the luminous in this movie, Sybil Shepherd. And the aging lost souls who bump up against him in the night like drifting tumbleweeds. The Last Picture Show remains the pivotal film in the career of the invaluable director and film historian, and I mentioned that, Peter Bogdanovich. I really like The Last Picture Show. It is dreary. Yeah, shot in black and white, and should be, even though it was shot in 1971. It's the dreariness of that town, and it needed to be in black and white. The one I haven't seen, the one that got critical acclaim, is The King of Marvin Gardens, starring Jack Nicholson and Bruce Dern. I gotta watch this. It's crushed dreams of wayward America. Jack Nicholson and Bruce Dern play estranged siblings David and Jason. The former, a depressive late-night radio talk show host, that would be Jack Nicholson. The latter, an extroverted con man, that would be Bruce Dern. When Jason drags his younger brother into dreary Atlantic City into a real estate scam. Oh, I have seen this. Events spiral toward tragedy. I have seen this. I take it back. I have seen this movie. On Criterion. Probably when I got it. But it's been a while, so you see so many movies that sometimes it takes the title didn't jump out at me, but when they said Atlantic City, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I remember this. Remember the whole scheme and everything else. All right. And what else is on this one? Drive, he said, also directed by Jack Nicholson. I believe he's also in it, if I remember right. Drive, he said, and A Safe Place. There's 2 different movies on this 2 different movies on this disc. I don't know why they did that, but maybe the back tells me. The 2 most overlooked films of the BBS era, Drive, he said, and A Safe Place, are daring personal character studies and the directorial debuts of respectively Jack Nicholson and Henry Jaglom. Nicholson's feverish snapshot of the early 70s concerns a disaffected college basketball player and his increasingly radical roommate. In Jaglom's delicate fantasy-laced drama, Tuesday Wells, I like her, stars as a fragile young woman in New York, unable to reconcile her ambiguous past with her unmoored present. Orson Welles also appears and disappears as a Central Park magician in that movie. Interesting. I've not seen either of these 2. These are the ones I hadn't seen. Not the other. I knew there was one. Anyway, that's America Lost and Found. Great set. Iconic films. They just released, I think, Easy Rider and maybe 5 Easy Pieces on standalone Blu-ray. But this is the one to get, guys. Really. I think it was like $60 at the Barnes & Noble sale. So it's like $120 otherwise, I think. Maybe it was more. I don't remember what I paid for this. I might have paid more. It's been a while. But I love it. I think it's a great set, well worth owning. And I just love the marquee letters on the front here, and that's really what that is. Very typically America, I guess. In my mind, it's really not, but to me, it's typically America. And you go on the shelf this way, okay? That's it, guys, for the box set Blu-rays. Next time, we'll start out with the DVDs, starting with the first one I have, which is a classic with one of my favorite actresses in the world ever. And she's turned into a great animal protector, I guess, in her older years, and never got plastic surgery. Decided that what she looked like, and that is I don't know how to explain her. Gorgeous, I guess, is the best word. Brigitte Bardot, and we'll start out with "And God Created Woman," and yes, He did. This is an amazing film, and I own quite a few Brigitte Bardot movies, but this is the only one on the Criterion collection, I believe, that I own. There were others that are out of print that I don't own, and I kind of wish I did. But they're on DVD, and I don't buy as many DVDs as Blu-rays these days on Criterions. I've got some because it was the only way I could get them, or I got them cheap. I keep my eyes open. If I find an out-of-print one with Brigitte Bardot or Brigitte Bardot in it, I'll certainly pick it up. All right, guys, that's it for now. Hopefully you enjoyed the look at the box sets. I'll think about that Jacques Demy one, what I'm going to do with it. I had it listed on eBay for a pretty good price, like $80, and it didn't sell. So I may just keep it listed, or I may just open it. I don't know. We'll see. What would you do? You keep it? I would say the movies are good, not necessarily great, but influential, entertaining. But you know, $80 is $80, and yeah. All right, guys, take care. Until the next time, Dean of DVD. I'm out.